Do you dare to gaze into the eyes of darkness? For some whispers, a name uttered 3 times before a darkened mirror is enough to tear the veil between our world and the place where true horrors lie. Tonight, the cheerful laughter and hushed secrets filled Lily's messy bedroom. It was the perfect sleepover to end the school year, complete with scattered sleeping bags, empty pizza boxes, and endless gossip. Ava, the always eager ringleader, waved a flashlight dramatically at her friends' faces. Beside her, Chloe, Eva, the skeptic, crossed her arms, unimpressed, and Ethan, the quiet cameraman, occasionally smirked, recording every moment. "All right, for the final dare," Ava announced, her eyes gleaming mischievously. "Bloody Mary." Immediately, the room fell, silent. Even Liam, the class clown, stopped his antics. This urban legend, whispered in schools across America, had haunted their childhoods. If you chant Bloody Mary 3 times in front of a mirror in a dark room, Ava whispered dramatically, the ghost of a woman appears and attacks or curses you. Chloe scoffed. "It's just an old campfire story, Ava. Shadows and imagination." "Oh yeah?" Ava raised an eyebrow. "Then let's prove it." They crammed into Lily's small bathroom, a thin sliver of moonlight filtering through the frosted window, barely illuminating the room. The mirror above the sink looked like a dark pool of ink. Emily closed the door, and total darkness enveloped them, so thick it felt suffocating. The air grew cold, and a strange aroma began to waft through, like stale metal and something sweet, decaying, like wilting flowers and dried blood. "Ready?" Ava whispered, her voice suddenly too taut. One by one, they turned their faces to the dark mirror. Ava went first. With a shaky breath, she chanted, "Bloody Mary!" Then again and again, nothing happened. Chloe snorted in satisfaction. "See? Nothing." But as Chloe spoke, Ethan, who was secretly recording with his phone's camera, gasped. "Wait," he whispered, his voice strained. "I saw something." On his phone's small screen, within the dark reflection of the mirror, there was a faint red flicker. It was too quick for the naked eye, just a fleeting reflection. Then, as Chloe leaned closer to the mirror, trying to see for herself, a faint sound began. A very low whisper, like a murmur, coming from the depths of the mirror itself. It wasn't words, more like broken sighs, as if something ancient and lonely was trying to speak. The sound felt cold, like icy fingers tracing their spines. The metallic and decaying flower scent grew thicker, filling their nostrils, making them nauseous. And then, from within the dark mirror, a dim red light began to emanate. Not bright enough to illuminate the room, but just enough to reveal something in the depths of the darkness. A blurry silhouette resembling a face, with two flickering red points where eyes should be. The silhouette floated closer to the mirror's surface, and from it, a low, raspy laugh like cracking glass echoed. It was a laugh filled with profound sadness and bitterness, not joy. And with that laugh, a whisper drifted out of the mirror, cold and clear, speaking directly into their minds. You called, and now you are seen. They all gasped. This was no trick of the light. This was real, and they realized with gripping terror that the ritual wasn't about seeing a ghost. It was about being seen by something they should never have awakened. The chilling whisper, "You called, and now you are seen," echoed in their minds, freezing them in the cramped, dark bathroom. Miss Albright's knuckles were bone white as she clutched the wall, her eyes wide and fixed on the mirror. The red points of light, the eyes of the silhouette, pulsed with a hungry, cold glow. "What is that?" Liam whispered, his voice trembling, pulling himself further into the corner. "It's not real," Chloe insisted, though her voice lacked its usual certainty. "It's a trick. Ethan, turn on the flashlight." Ethan fumbled for his phone, but his hands were shaking too badly. The sickly, sweet, metallic scent grew stronger, suffocating them. The air felt heavy, as if the darkness itself had gained weight. Suddenly, the silhouette in the mirror seemed to shift, distorting, stretching. The red points of light elongated, becoming jagged like broken glass. The low, raspy laugh grew louder, more distorted, sounding like shattered whispers overlapping. And then, from within the mirror, a faint, rhythmic scraping sound began, like something trying to claw its way out of the glass itself. Scrape, scrape. The group stumbled back, pressing themselves against the cold tiles of the bathroom wall. The mirror, now a swirling vortex of dim red light and shifting shadows, felt like a window into an endless, horrifying void. "It wants to come out," Emily whimpered, covering her mouth. The scraping intensified, becoming a desperate, frantic sound. The entire mirror seemed to vibrate, and tiny hairline cracks began to spiderweb across its surface, radiating out from the center where the silhouette pulsed. The sweet, metallic smell intensified, now burning their nostrils, making their eyes water. And through the cracking glass, a new sound emerged, a chorus of faint, mournful sobs, a weeping that seemed to come from countless ancient voices. Lonely, so lonely. Come, be with us, forever. Ava, who had initiated the dare, found herself drawn towards the mirror again. Her eyes, wide and glassy, seemed to reflect the pulsing red light. She took a slow, deliberate step forward, her hand reaching out towards the fractured surface. "Ava, no!" Chloe cried, trying to grab her, but Ava was in a trance, her face serene, almost blissful. As Ava's fingertips brushed the surface of the mirror, the cracks glowed intensely, and the silhouette within surged forward, pressing against the glass. The raspy laughter transformed into a triumphant, echoing shriek that filled the small room. A sound of pure, unadulterated joy. For a terrifying moment, the glass seemed to ripple, to become fluid. Ava's hand, touching the surface, began to sink into the mirror, her fingers disappearing into the swirling red light. Her eyes closed, and a soft sigh escaped her lips. She's gone. Ethan screamed, his phone slipping from his grasp, crashing to the floor, its light dying. The bathroom plunged into absolute darkness, illuminated only by the faint, lingering phosphorescent glow on the mirror's surface, which slowly began to recede, drawing the red light with it. The scraping and sobbing sounds faded, replaced by an eerie, profound silence. Chloe, Liam, and Emily were left in the suffocating blackness, trembling, their hearts hammering. Ava was gone, swallowed by the reflection. The legend wasn't just a curse or an attack. It was an invitation to join a place beyond the glass, where the lonely souls of the mirror's victims resided. And they knew with a horrifying certainty that the darkness surrounding them in Lily's bathroom was no longer just a lack of light. It was the vast, unseen space behind the mirror, and it was waiting. The darkness was absolute, heavy with the lingering scent of decay and stale metal. Ava was gone, swallowed by the mirror, leaving Chloe, Liam, and Emily in a terror-stricken huddle. The mirror itself, though invisible in the black, felt like a gaping maw, silent and patient. "We have to get out," Chloe whimpered, fumbling for the bathroom door. She shoved against it, but it wouldn't budge. "It's locked." "It was locked from the inside," Liam reminded her, his voice shaky. "I locked it." But the lock didn't respond. It felt jammed, solid. The air in the small bathroom grew colder, a chilling dampness seeping into their clothes. The faint, phosphorescent glow on the mirror's surface had completely vanished, leaving them in a profound, suffocating black. Then, a new sound began. Not from the mirror this time, but from all around them. From the walls, the floor, the ceiling. A soft, rhythmic clicking, like tiny insects scurrying just beneath the plaster. It grew louder, accompanied by a faint, almost melodic humming. A low frequency that vibrated through the floor tiles. "What is that?" Emily whispered, her voice barely audible. The clicking intensified, sounding like hundreds of small, sharp nails tapping against a hard surface. And with it, a faint, almost invisible mist began to seep from the walls, smelling faintly of stale dust and something vaguely organic, like old, dried leaves. The mist swirled, clinging to their skin, making them shiver. Suddenly, a single, glowing red point appeared in the darkness, floating just above the sink where the mirror used to be. It was small, intense and unblinking. Then another appeared beside it, and another, until dozens of tiny, flickering red lights dotted the darkness, like countless unseen eyes watching them. The whispers returned too, clearer now, less mournful, more insistent. They were fractured voices, overlapping, some soft, some sharp, all speaking the same phrase: play with us, forever, never leave. The game. Liam, driven by a desperate, illogical impulse, reached out into the darkness, hoping to swipe away the glowing red points. His hand met nothing but empty air. But as his hand passed through where a light had been, he felt a sudden, sharp prickle, like touching static electricity. He pulled his hand back and saw a faint, momentary red glow on his fingertips, rapidly fading. The clicking and humming intensified. The mist grew thicker, swirling around them, and then the room itself seemed to shift. The solid walls of the bathroom felt as if they were subtly rippling, contracting, then expanding, making the small space feel impossibly vast, then impossibly small. It was disorienting, terrifying. Emily, overwhelmed, buried her face in her hands, sobbing uncontrollably. "I want out! I want out!" Suddenly, a new sound joined the cacophony, a child's giggle, light and innocent, yet filled with a chilling, knowing malice. It echoed from all around them, multiplied, surrounding them, until the small bathroom seemed filled with an unseen playground of spectral children. And then, from directly behind Chloe, a breathy whisper, impossibly close, sent ice through her. Her veins. "It's your turn, dearie. The mirror is waiting." Chloe screamed, spinning around, but saw nothing in the oppressive darkness. The glowing red points pulsed faster, closing in. She felt a cold, delicate touch on her cheek, like a child's, finger tracing her skin. The smell of decay and stale metal was suffocating. The room gave a final, violent lurch. The clicking sound morphed into a dull, grinding thrumming, as if unseen machinery was awakening beneath them. The individual red points of light began to coalesce, drawing together, slowly forming a vast, shimmering red rectangle in the darkness. Where the mirror had been, the rectangle grew, taking on depth, becoming a swirling vortex of crimson light. And from its depths, 1,000 voices rose in a triumphant, echoing chant. "Welcome!" The reflection is infinite. The game has begun. The crimson vortex, where the mirror had been pulsed with a dizzying light, its depths swirling with the faint, fragmented images of countless faces. Chloe, Liam, and Emily huddled together, their screams trapped in their throats by the overwhelming sight and sound. The whispers, now a triumphant chorus, echoed from within the vortex. One of us, always one of us. Liam, his mind reeling, felt the subtle prickle on his fingertips again and looked down. The faint, reddish glow was still there now, pulsing in sync with the vortex. He glanced at Chloe and Emily. Their skin, too, seemed to shimmer with a barely perceptible luminescence. The cold touch on Chloe's cheek had left an almost invisible, shimmering mark, like a tiny fingerprint pulsing with the same light. The bathroom itself seemed to waver, its solid walls blurring at the edges, becoming translucent, revealing glimpses of other darker spaces beyond, long echoing hallways, shadowy rooms, all filled with the same faint red glow and countless flickering spectral forms. It was as if the boundaries of the room, and perhaps reality itself, were dissolving. The vortex began to undulate, to slowly expand, its shimmering surface rippling outwards like ripples in a dark pond. It wasn't just a reflection anymore. It was a portal, steadily growing, threatening to consume the entire bathroom. The sweet, decaying scent became so potent it was intoxicating, dizzying their senses. Suddenly, a familiar voice, sharp and frantic, cut through the mesmerizing hum of the vortex. "Hello? Lily, kids! Are you in there? The power's out and I can't find you!" It was Lily's mom, her voice muffled, coming from somewhere outside the bathroom door. A collective hiss erupted from the vortex, a sound of profound annoyance. The expanding shimmer on the walls hesitated. The triumphant whispers fractured into angry, frustrated murmurs. The spectral children's giggles turned to sharp, irritated cries. Liam, seeing a momentary window of opportunity, surged forward, pulling Chloe and Emily with him. "The door!" he screamed, trying to reach the handle. But as they lunged, the shimmering expanse of the vortex pulsed violently. A single, distinct, ancient female voice, cold and sharp, cut through the cacophony, emanating from the depths of the expanding red light. "The game is not interrupted." A solid, invisible barrier slammed into them, throwing them backward. The sound was like muffled thunder, a violent thud that vibrated through the floor. The voice from the vortex echoed, "Not this time! Not yet!" The bathroom door remained stubbornly locked. Lily's mom's frantic calls began to fade, her footsteps receding. She hadn't seen the barrier. She couldn't hear the entity. They were truly alone. The vortex continued its slow, inexorable expansion. The anger in its whispers subsided, replaced by a profound, chilling satisfaction. The red light pulsed with a knowing, patient rhythm. Mark felt the strange mark on Chloe's cheek began to burn faintly. He looked at his own hand, the glowing pattern on his skin growing steadily. He felt a deep, profound tiredness, a yearning for the rest the whispers had promised. As the crimson reflection reached the far wall, transforming the entire bathroom into a vast, shimmering portal, the true nature of Bloody Mary, and the mirror became chillingly clear. Bloody Mary wasn't a single ghost. She was the collective consciousness of countless reflections, an ancient entity that had learned to exist within the liminal space of mirrors, feeding on the moments of vulnerability, the dares, the curiosity that summoned her. The attacks and curses were merely the initial stages of absorption, of integration into its vast, ever-growing psychic network. The mirror wasn't a portal to a dimension. It was the dimension, an infinite, reflective plane that slowly, subtly expanded to encompass the world around it. The ritual wasn't to summon Bloody Mary. It was a key, a binding. By uttering her name 3 times, they weren't calling a ghost. They were activating a dormant connection, inviting a part of the reflection entity to manifest, to choose its next players. The countless small red lights weren't eyes. They were the dormant consciousnesses of past victims, flickering into awareness, ready to greet the new arrivals. Chloe, Liam, and Emily hadn't just been trapped in Lily's bathroom. They had been chosen. The invisible barrier, Lily's mom's sudden, fading presence, the increasing sense of calm and overwhelming peace. It wasn't about being kept out. It was about making sure nothing interfered with the final perfect integration. They weren't being attacked, they were being welcomed into a vast, silent, and endless game. As the shimmering red vortex fully encompassed the bathroom, its silent hum filling every atom of the air, the individual glowing marks on their skin brightened, then merged into a single flowing pattern that mirrored the undulating surface of the now infinite reflection. Their eyes glazed over, becoming still, reflecting the swirling crimson depths. Their last conscious thought was a profound, echoing understanding. They were not just in the mirror, they were the mirror. And now, forever, they would watch, wait, and whisper from its endless depths, waiting for the next dare, the next reflection, the next curious soul to join their eternal game. The legend of Bloody Mary wasn't a warning. It was a promise, and it was always kept.